launch here basically from essentially the 16-yard line, right? You see the ball travels through the air, almost 50 total yards, right? So like just really an impressive arm strength. I remember when Barry Lunny came back from seeing Carson throw live the first time, he was blown away with not only his arm strength, his accuracy, his ability to kind of do things. Now this is a really good example, right? So everybody always thinks about what a quarterback can do, throwing the ball, and obviously certain other aspects, but I think the greatest indicator of how a quarterback can affect your program is what can he do when the answers aren't there, right? I mean, obviously got somebody at his feet here, forces it back, makes it a retreat. They're in coverage down the field, so he's got great vision down the field to see all that's going on. But now he's at a point where he knows, okay, the answer isn't there. I just need to get back in the line of scrimmage. So he breaks into, just Carson Boyd athleticism. He makes 4 guys miss. Now he's got positive yards. He's got a first down. Again, now 2 defenders gets himself through that and just really puts himself in a position to literally change the field position. Almost 50 yards in one play. Here's another really good example. Again, when the answers aren't quite there, ball goes over his head, right? So you're not going to have too many of these. We obviously saw it this year in the Penn State game, right? But ball goes over your head. He's like, I know I got to go get this ball and help. Here comes pressure. He finds the escape path, right? Kind of goes one direction. Take over and then be able to locate and find the receiver. His back is to the receivers here, right? He literally here spins, locates, comes out of it, and is able to throw a strike down the field full throttle on a run, and then this converts obviously into the ball, outside the 10-yard line. Just really super excited about what he brings from an athletic standpoint and everything else. Farrell, the first of our 9 flips, obviously flipped from ACC school. Really excited to get him. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to have his senior year, so these are some of the stuff from his junior year. I think his best football is in front of him. He's a big, athletic tight end. Dad's a football coach. He's got football in his blood, DNA. What I love about this kid, I go to his high school practice. So he can't play his senior year, so he is the chief video director for his high school football team. He's running a drone at practice. He's talking to me about this all fall. I was kind of excited to come see, watch it. He literally became the video guy of his high school football team. I don't know how many blue chip guys, right, would take this upon themselves, and just an absolute indicator. You see his athletic ability, right? Obviously a fingertip catch right here, turns around, tucks it, powers through 2 defenders, and then his ability to finish it off down the field. Just a really, really all-encompassing. I think it could be a multiple positions for us as a tight end, both on the ball, off the ball, in motion as a wide receiver. You're going to see him flex his muscles and come out here in a little kickoff block, right? Just brings his hip, brings his athleticism, is able to finish it through. And this is another good example of probably just what he can do athletically. Here you see him kind of just give a little run read here. Obviously takes advantage of a defensive look, something he's learned on film. Obviously they got a wide zone look here. You're going to see the quarterback pull it out. They set up a run. Got the look of it here. Really understands the game, and then just soft touch. Nice little catch, runs in the end zone. I think a really, really exciting tight end prospect for us. Next guy's John Forster. Art Zikowski is the lead recruiter here. Incredible family. His dad and him came early in the spring. This one, 2 of our best recruiters. Really do a nice job. I like this one. This is just kind of a really good display of what he's all about, right? So a little counter step. He's going to come off the backside hip of this puller, right? So there he is making the read and the cut. Now he takes himself and just takes that moment to get vertical. Does a nice job of finishing it off on the end and knows exactly where that finish line. Just shows ability. You see people all the time come in and take shots on him, but he's just really strong, stays on his feet, able to stay through. Here's another really good example of his athleticism. You're going to see him on a swing pass here. Just probably, for the coaches that put him in this position, they got great trust in him, but this is a really good, this is a circus catch here, right? So it's a catch outside the framework of his body, behind and fingertip. He gets his feet back around. Just a really good example of doing that. And as soon as he does get grounded, he got a guy hitting him, and now he's able to turn it into some burners down the sideline. Just a really good example. Ran out of space there, but really good. And then this last one I put in there, just these kids all submitted 5 plays they like. I got picked 3, right? So a little selection process, but this is a really good, to me, this is a Big Ten running back. This is a guy that has explosive ability, can catch the football, but this is kind of just football one-on-one here, right? It's a second down, right? He's just going to put his nose in there. He's going to get what's there, and now he had contact, there's other contact, gonna come up and get contact from 3 different guys, and he falls ahead for 4 more yards. I mean, this is just, to me, this is just Big Ten football. It was what I've been able to sign, you know, a bunch of running backs that get the chance to play in the NFL. Really reminds me a lot of kind of Monty Ball guy I had in my past. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Josh McCray-ish, body type wise, so really good. So this is a really neat story. Dylan Forsett, they call him Big Island. He's from Rhode Island, went down to Florida, plays at Cardinal Newman. You know, Jack introduced me to him when he first got down there, weighed over 410 pounds. Now weighs below 300, has lost over 120 pounds in the last 18 months, and just a very powerful, dynamic, and he plays tackle, but I think he can play both tackle, center, and guard. I think he can play all 3. He's played a little bit of center and pass. Here you see, obviously, the DN double dips, and he just climbs to the 2nd level. And now he's got a guy in space here and just is able to play with a little bit of attitude, a little bit of intensity. I always think about when I recruit these big boys, like, this kid's probably got a mom in the stands too, right? Like, she's up there like, dear mother of Jesus, like, what's happening to my son, right? Like, just kind of finishes it, puts it over, right? Makes, you know, Cardinal Newman's got all kinds of athletes all over on the field. We'll see later it was Zanai, but here's another really good example of just the power and ability that he has. Comes off the ball, look at that whole side of line scrimmage. Like, I literally just showed a play yesterday to our entire team about Northwestern, about how we were able to get movement on the line of scrimmage and allows a running back to cut, right? And then obviously got movement here with the quarterback, but that's where the play is, right? But this is Big Island. There's 10 yards and there's 12 yards on the ground, right? Just really good, all right? For added fun, he just lays on until the play's over, right? So really, really good stuff. Kind of like the fact that didn't really pick him up either, right? So now we got a 3rd down play. Another really good example of space where you're going to see a little move, and he's going to come out and block on the perimeter. So this is a big man running in space. Really, really dynamic player. Very athletic, brings his feet, right? And then when you're playing down there in Florida, now those are good athletes you're going against, right? So just a really very exciting player. He's super excited. Another flip for us. I think he was committed to a Florida school. J.J. Hurtis, another flip for us from a MAC school. I just love this kid on film. When I saw him on film, love who he is, what he is. He's a big guy who runs, rangy, extremely good length. Here you see him start to move this guy off the line of scrimmage, and he's very raw. I think his upside is literally huge, right? I do think he'll start a tackle, but probably could play guard. Might even experiment with what he can do interiorly at center position, but really kind of reminds me a little bit of Frank Ragnow film when I was watching him. Just an underdeveloped guy that's got great leg strength, good mobility, good size, and then overall, right, just a guy that really gets after it. Here you see him again. He's going to have initial point of contact at the line of scrimmage, right, and then he just engages, and this sounds easier than it is, right, but this is a big guy playing against a smaller body, probably a little bit more athleticism and ability. He just maintains it, and then he begins to transit. I always call this transitional power, right? Like, how can you move in transition and engage power, right? This is a very unique, this is one of my number one things that when I look at linemen that I really want to try to find is have transitional power, which is a big guy in space that has power to move people while he's running. Like, most kids slow their feet down. He does a really good job, right? So another good example of a lineman, Mike McCutcheon. Dad's a high school coach again. I love the high school coach's sons. This is him at guard, right? You can see him pull out and engage to the right. Very good, right? Runs extremely well. You see him engage here. He's able to finish it off, right, and allow his player to get on the perimeter. Here's a good inside. This is a big boy he's blocking against here. You're going to see a kind of a combo platter with him in the center. They both kind of step over, but you'll see he's the driving force. Again, transitional power, able to engage. Obviously, this is a big man. He's moving. Just continues to move him and shed him and takes over the official. You guys know how I feel about those guys, right? But not condoning this behavior, but it's kind of awesome to watch, right? And the last one here, just another good example of just real strong interior. I think he'll be guard to guard, possibly center, right? Just a good high school wrestler. He's actually going to join us early. I think 13 of our guys are early enrolled. One of the things he really struggled with is he's a state champ or potential state champion wrestler, and he's going to forego that to join us. Just he has really good power. Again, I feel bad for this kid's mom and dad sitting in the stands. Like, this guy's just a different animal, right? Shawnee Newton, right? Plays tonight against two of his teammates in a highly touted high school football game down in Florida, but really just first one, again, really able to process, understand, and then deliver a really good ball here. Timing route, a lot of good speed at Clearwater, right? So Didn't play last week, had a little bit of a soft tissue, but is going to play this week. But really just an explosive arm, dynamic player. Here you're going to see him as a running quarterback. So they got spacing right before he recognizes right away. There's no, they're putting everybody up here in the line of scrimmage, so he knows once he breaks free, right, so it's him and his speed versus everybody else. So he's got a clear path. He's going to find himself through here, and then you'll just see him understand where that goal line is and where he needs to go. Just a really, really good example of a player that has understanding of where he is, what he needs to do. Same principle here, right? A little different look, right? So you got the first level, second level. He knows he's got 2 high safeties, right? So you just see him process a little different here. He's got the guy breaking in the middle, and again, he understands right now, he knows where those guys are at. I think probably one of the more aware guys that I've seen at this position. He knew how to work the leverage. I promise you, he knows where this guy's at, where this guy's at. You see him come and he'll cut off him. Right? He didn't know he was going to go out, but stayed far away from him, and now he just got a middle seam and broke it. Now see him pull away from the speed, right, and go back away from where he's being pursued. Just incredible awareness, really good understanding. Griffin Rousseau, guy from Stoughton, Wisconsin. Really, really excited about this guy. Bart saw him in high school camp 2 years ago. Big guy that can move, right? We'll start him at tackle, but might be able to play some guard value. You see him time and time again, just get his big body on other people, keep his feet moving. Plays a little high, we'll get him in the cage, get him down a little bit, but really excited about what he brings, how he brings it. Another good example over here on the left side coming off, right? He engaged, obviously a smaller player, but just love the transitional power, right? Guys that can bring their feet and move, right, and have power while they're doing it. It's a very uncharacteristic thing for big people, right? They don't usually get it. Grant Smith, kind of a cool story, runner-up in the state championship game, was committed to Illinois State, saw his film, really liked Pat and his crew brought it in. His athleticism, his ability really changed from his junior year to his senior year. Same story kind of his dad. His dad was a college basketball player that ended up getting an NFL opportunity because of his athleticism, and here you'll see it, right? He's going to be one-on-one out here to the perimeter. Quarterback throws a little jump ball, and you'll just see his athleticism. There he's high pointed. You see the white flash with his hand, right? With his glove right up there, boom, high points that ball. That's a big time play for a guy his size, right? So really, really like his dynamic athletic ability. Here's another good example. You're going to see him come across. Comes out here, he'll get one in the flat, avoids it here, right? But then this is a really good one about his catch and run, right? Just really think it's a good example, right? Actually about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage that he lost. Now he just takes it and turns. And you see him take it into his leverage. Does a great job of getting the far hand, gets that body down. Got a little bit here, a blocker. He knows how to cut off it, stimmy it, and stay away from him. And now he turns it into a nice little juice down the sideline. Turns it into a score, right? Just to see him here, right? Like, so what we always look at, right? If you can get 3 strides and cover 10 yards, you're probably running sub 4.6, and he's got that repeatedly during that run. I'm really excited to see where he's at. This is another good example coming across. Now we'll see him, but we are going to make him block a little bit here. You see him come up to the second level, get good movement here, moves him off the line of scrimmage. Some of that transitional power in the tight end room as well works. This is really, really good. All right, Braden Trimble. Just super excited. Love Mount Zion guys. Love to have a few more come, right? Runner-up in football and basketball. Very athletic, great family. I thought the Mount Zion coaches did an awesome job here. You see him as a jet sweep. When I was at that game, I literally saw him wide receiver. I saw him as a running back. I saw him as a quarterback. Saw him as a free safety on defense. Plays a multiple. Now, when a kid's doing that, he's obviously got great athleticism, but it also tells you what the coaches think of him, right? So he's able to play multiple positions in the same game. He's obviously got great football situational awareness, so this is a really good one. Obviously, he's been handed the ball because he's a good player with the ball in his hand, but he's got toughness. This is a great example, right? So it's toughness, questionable block by this tight end here. I think we got to have him finish it up a little better, right? You know what I'm saying? Right? But we got to come. Delivers a nice blow, right? And then you got a nice little run-through tackle here, and then just the explosive to get. I think this kid lives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's probably got 80 off, I swear, right? Like, I saw he got moved up to a 4-star ranking. He's a 5-star in my book, just an incredibly gifted. And then this is kind of a Zachary Franklin type. He kind of does remind me of Zachary. Very, very dynamic, explosive, incredible hands. Watch this one, man. Like one hand, right? Just one hand grab and go. Just really, really, really athletic. Got great ball sense. I love it. I saw him play basketball last January. Incredible ball skills, and then this is another good example. So as a punt returner, right, it's probably one of the most difficult plays to accomplish as a player, right, and especially some of these high school punts, right, so this one's a short one, so he times it up, reads it. He'd rather catch this in the air, I get it, but he catches it on the one hop. Got a guy immediately in his face, watch this. He just makes a miss, and then he just turns it into where he sees open spacing, and just shows that he's operating on a different level. Now he undercuts here, and he's gonna undercut again. He undercuts 3 guys. He's gonna come here again, and he undercuts again, and finds himself back in the end zone. Undercut 5 guys. Like, that's just not a normal thing, right? Many kids wouldn't be able to accomplish that run and task. Like, and then the way he's wired with his mom and dad and people in Zion, pretty cool. Cedric Weiss, one of our first running back, or second running back. This guy really reminds me. I've recruited a lot of players out of St. Thomas. I recruited a young man by the name of James White back in 2000, maybe 7 or 8, 9, whatever it was. Went on to play in the NFL, Super Bowl champion. In same high school, literally almost the same exact skill set. Roger Harriet, the head coach here, is an incredibly gifted high school coach, really good program. Here's a really good look, right? So James, when we signed him, really liked what he brought running back throwing-wise, and this is the same thing here was said, man. Here you see him get out in open space, really does a nice job of making a couple guys miss. Gets a vertical burst down the sideline, just really, he even got the track finish right. He does a double lean, don't love that, but we'll work on that. But really impressive player. Overall, this is nice, just get what I got run, right? So he's up inside a little zone, nice little hop, right? So he sees the edge. He sees that guy's being a little vulnerable, so he sticks it up in there, makes that guy guess. Now he's got it into a bounce, and now he knows where that end zone is. He just gets vertical, just really impressive. Now this is another one, just I think a really good indication of what he is. Kind of out of a draw look, right? So it's a first down and long, right? So they pop that up in there. Again, just really get what's there, and then you see him have really good dynamic feet down the field, hop, jump, sketch, and then all those plays going forward. Nice little 20, 30-yard gain. Bret Bielema, right? Flip for us, just really appreciate him, his mom and dad, and Grant giving us a chance. I know it was really hard for him to do that. Cared a lot about the people he used to be with, right? But knew he had to be selfish for a moment and join us, right? And this is just a really good 3-play composite. I think he has off the ball value, he has on the ball value. Very gifted, great program in Lakota West, just really impressive. Here you see him, he sees it, he understands, and he never breaks stride, right? And he's got these long arms that he just makes people make bad decisions with his length. So a nice little tip here to his teammate, making really good plays. Here's another one off the ball, right? Just really dynamic, got good vision. Here you see him understand, right? So he's keying the quarterback, watching his running back. He knows where he's going. The first thing that tells you where you're going are your shoulders and your feet, right? So before his eyes leave the quarterback, you see his shoulder open and his hip open. You can't coach that. That's a kid seeing and understanding where he needs to go, right? So before his head turns, his shoulder and hips open. That told me, like, if you really truly watch film the way you need to, this tells me he sees things that he doesn't have in his vision, right? So he takes this look and opens it, and now just the explosiveness here, just really dynamic player. Here's another good look at that. Here he's going to play in space a little bit, like watch his eyes, right? So he's on the running back, right? So he's got him man, but you can see him perip the quarterback here. A lot of guys, this is called an angle route, right? So he's going to try to get him to overplay so he can undercut back inside. Just really good square shoulders. You see him plant that left foot. His shoulders stay square, which allows him to drive back inside, and now he got a chance to make a play. Everybody sees these plays and like, oh shit, that's a good, oh, that's a good play, right? Like, no, why did that happen, right? Well, it happened because he plays with great vision. He stays inside out on the running back. He plants with his left foot and keeps his shoulders square, and he's got incredible length, and that's what makes that ball come out, right? That's why a good play happens, and I think that's a really big part of him. Cameron Brooks, another D lineman. Homewood Floss guy we got on really early. Seeing him being an interior tackle to end. He's got really good position flex here. You see him on a spike across the tackle space, just very disruptive, explosive. He's kind of gone through a body change, leaned up his body as he got older. Here you see a nice little inside move, and then he just has a nice job of tracking rather than just run up the field. A lot of times with these throws, right, like all these other linemen are running up the field, it's a delay wide receiver screen. He understands it, processes it, rather than running up here and wasting all that energy. He comes flat down the line of scrimmage, reacts, and now he gets in on a play, right, that most D linemen run by, right? Really good example. Here's another one interiorly. You're going to see him take off the ball, right? Really use good power, shucks, sheds, comes off to the outside, right? So his buddy over here forces it up and through, and because he uses his hands, sets off, comes and accelerates. Really good routine play that our guys make. Taiwan Cox, first of our brother combo, right? So Taiwan Again, was committed to another school, brought him, reached out to his dad as a defensive coordinator here at Miami Northwestern. Dad played at Pitt, played for Paul Rose, a buddy of mine, and when I called and said, hey, we're taking his brother when we took him in the portal from Ohio, he's like, hey man, that family's great. And it's I mean, this is typical of Torrey Cox, right? Just saw an interception against Northwestern where he understands what's going on. He plays with patience. He just undercuts it. This is what we've seen Torrey do 2 or 3 times already this year. Just the same exact mentality, demeanor. It's just he's a little bit taller. He's going to tell you he's probably a little bit faster, right? So I think he has good off the ball corner value, but he also plays some nickel value. Here you see we love corners and DBs that love to support the run game, right? So he just comes here, unbought, just comes in and delivers just really, really good toughness, demeanor. Here's another really good example. You're going to see him drop in coverage. You'll see a flare route here. All right, so he's playing this guy with, he understands where he's going, plays, right? Now before the quarterback has even thrown the ball, he understands what's happening, right? So he transitions, right? It's not just a good play. Why does it happen? He transitions. See him already accelerate, throw it, drive off it, and then just watch the reaction here. Before this guy can even get a foot in the ground, right? He's already transitioned because he sees it. This ball hasn't left his hands. He's already into his break, right? So before this guy can react, he's already in his grill just because he understands what's happening before the play's made, right? Really, really good. Eric Gale, excited about Eric, another flip. I think he was committed to Cincinnati early, right? So outside linebackers need to do 2 things essentially. They need to be able to run and make plays, right? Outside, inside, right? They go forward a lot, but it's about how they make plays laterally, right? And this is a really good example. He sees it, and now he can quick change direction. And you know, the ball's being snapped on the 3-yard line as it is, right? So there's not a lot of room for error down here, right? So he's able to get it. He knows exactly where to be, and he pulls this thing back, right? And allows it to happen. And this is a really good, the next one is a really good example. You've got to play with extension, right? Since I've got here, really talked about playing with extension in the outside back room. This is part of the reason why Gabe and Seth have been so productive. Just look at that extension, right? Just inside hand control, he jacks him, separates, and now he's got to be able to come out and make a play. Have the ability to do that. Really, really good example, right? And this is another one, just coming off pure speed, edge rusher, able to get dynamic up the field, flows in and make this play happen, right? Just really, really explosive player. R.J. Jones, another guy out of Bureau. Obviously, Amar Reynolds, buddy of mine. Jack Daniels was at Newman. His first OC was Lenny Jankowski. This is Lenny School, another really good school down in Florida. Here you're going to see him plant, drive, react, right? So it's 2nd and 4. You see the reaction. So he's literally about 3, 5, so he's about 10 yards away. Just look where this ball is being handed off. And look where this ball is being tackled, right? He gets to it before the ball gained 3 yards. Like just really explosive, dynamic player. Here's another really good example. Showcases his athleticism. Unfortunately, he was injured. He broke his thumb this year, so he didn't get to play the whole season, but was very productive. Here you're going to see him come up, high point this ball, the extension, catch out of his radius. Really, really good job of getting the ball here and making a play. And this last one, just really good example. Again, just I think he sees a condensed splint. We call this a teacup, right? So all this in here looks like a little teacup, right? It's all in there tight, right? So this is a teacup formation. You'll see him react, come off it. Just comes up, makes an attitude. Really explosive. I mean, this ball snapped on basically the 18-yard line, right? It's a 3rd and 8, right? The ball's being snapped right there. I'm sorry, about the 26-yard line. He's standing back here, basically, 11 yards away. By the time he reacts and pulls, that ball's gained 2 yards. That's the kind of reaction speed you need to be a good player. Ishmael Conte, we call him Ish, only junior college signing. He just became the #1 JUCO linebacker in the country, rated, right? Like, got on him midway through. Bye week #2, went into Iowa Central, knew a little bit about him. Coach Montoya talked about him, had a chance to see him live. This guy blew up, right? We brought him in here on a visit. He got about 5 offers in 24 hours after he kind of committed to us, right? Because everybody got on him in the country, but very long, great story. Born in West Africa, came over when he's 3rd grade, has just turned himself into a big-time football player. Long, athletic, will have a little bit of inside, outside value for us. Very instinctive, plays with an attitude. Good friends with Rio. So same thing here. How you play with extension. Watch him jack that thing up, gets off it, and now makes a tackle for loss, right? It's a 2nd and 8, right? Now it's going to turn into a 3rd and 11 because of his athleticism. Really, really good dynamic player. This is another good look here. You're going to see him, right? He's got a read process. What I love here, he's in zone coverage. right? So he's dropping in zone, he's reading it, he understands, so these are called elephants on parade, right? All these big boys, they're all elephants on parade, they're all gonna go away. Rather than chase that, he knows that that action is boot action going away from him. He knows the ball's gonna come back, right? So elephants on parade means the party's coming back to you, right? So he just stays here, doesn't drift, doesn't get in there. Why does he make good plays? He sees things extremely well and he comes back out. So elephants on parade, he deciphers, look at, all of the ball is over there. Everything is over there, look where he looks. Right? He understands pictures, he understands things. This is a story, right? This is a story, a lot of good shit's written there. He wants to find out what he needs to do, so he looks to his key, comes back out, settles, right? He sees this guy breaking underneath. Before the ball's thrown, right? The ball's still in his hands, he's beginning to break. See that shoulder lean? So he's already breaking before the ball's out of the throw, right? That's why this kind of thing, that's why that happens, right? Like people don't understand. They're just like, wow, that's a great hit. Well, the reason it was a great hit is because before the ball was even snapped, he was in space. He understood it was 3rd and 5. He knew they had to get here where the chains are, right? I talked to him about this play, right? He sees it go away. His eyes go exactly where the football isn't. He wants to understand what's out in the flat because he's going to be responsible. So now he's back. He's got vision on a running back. He knows this guy's not his. He's not going to get here, so this is the only threat. So as soon as this quarterback makes a decision, he's already in transition. And that's why big plays happen, right? So that's really, really good stuff, man. Andre Lovett, again, one of our early commits out of Chicago, highly recruited kid. Really good example here, playing the free safety position. Instinctively sees things, right? So it's a mid-down play, right? So puts himself into a back pedal drive, comes up and runs for it, all right? Free safety's got to be erasers, right? So there's obviously a breakdown in the line of scrimmage and run fit, but he erases the mistake really good. Here's another good. They play him up in the box a little bit. You'll see him, again, kind of the same thing. He's going to drift, understands what's coming at him, but he knows now it's a diagnosed run. Watch this explosion, right? It's a 1st and 10. Ball's being snapped right there on the 35-yard line, right? Comes up, makes a play, hits a guy, right? Now the ball's loose, creates a big play on the quarterback, right? So he's responsible for the quarterback coming. He delivers with authority, gets a hand on that ball. Now we got a tip ball. Now we got a potential turnover situation. Really explosive, dynamic player. This is what I love, right? So I know guys like to play multiple positions. They couldn't put him on the field enough at running back, wide receiver, whatever they could do. Ball's down here on the 20-yard line. They just turned it into an inside zone. Watch his vision here. He does a great job of rolling. So he's been playing this position on the other side. He understands what that guy's seeing. Watch this. He just knows he's just got a sidestep, avoids the official, jumps out of it because he knows right now if he gets past that guy, he's got one. And then the rest is history. Just pulls away. Just a really, really, really good, smart football player. It's a nice guy. Super excited to get another Scott. Get these guys on the field hopefully together. I'm seriously, when I'm watching this guy, for the first time I watch film, it's like you're watching Xavier all over again. But he is bigger. He's probably a little bit faster, probably better looking. I don't think Xavier would tell you that, but tonight, really good. Just watch it. I literally watched this yesterday on film with Xavier. Like his feet, his mechanics, really gets his high point, right? Like takes that ball away from it, right? Like really good job of understanding. Probably can play like his brother, could probably play corner slot, both boundary, free safety, and down in the box. Just really a dynamic player. Does a lot of really good stuff with the ball in his hands afterwards, right? Another good example, you're going to see him read and react. He's playing a little bit of cover 2 safety here, right? So he reads, stems down to it. He's going to get a nice crossing route here, right? So he's going to pass this guy off. Transitions to this guy, he understands where he's coming. You see him going to the break point before he declares it. Right now he's going to run an undercut on this quarterback. Again, really good length. You'll see him undercut it, tips that ball down, man. Like just really, really instinctive, good player. And then this is probably the truest tale, right? So down in Florida, you put your 2 best back athletes back there as punt returners. Does a nice job of here reading it come off the punter's leg, right? It's going to come over to him. High punt, right? Really waits for it, right? Big high bounce, couldn't get to it. Boom, now this is just athleticism, right? I know Coach Parker and Coach Henry are going to try to take credit for his athleticism when he scores and makes plays for us here on defense, but this is just him. This is just what the good Lord created for Zanai, man. He's just special. And those aren't slow guys they're probably playing against. Pretty awesome, pretty good, awesome at Des. A late addition, well not late, but got with us in the fall. I think a very big, powerful boundary safety, kind of Matt Bailey-ish. Really like is big. He's a tough kid, plays with a lot of power, but has a lot of range as well. Does a good good job getting the hand on the ball here. Another good example here, he's playing that little half safety, comes out of it, breaks on a deep ball, and again, you're going to see him take the ball to high point, can't quite get it, but he makes sure nobody else can either. Just tips the ball, knocks it out, really good, explosive. And then this is another one, just kind of showcases athleticism. I love guys that are punt returners, right? So does a really nice job here. You see him take the ball to high point, that's a really hard thing to do. Backpedaling a little bit, gives it a little bit of ground, and now just turns it into something different, right? Gets the edge, knows where he needs to go, how he needs to get there, and then while up here, right, cutting it off. Guy coming on the backside, he understands that he is setting these guys up right now, taking them down the boundary. He sees the vision. And watch this, boom, stays away from this, takes it in for a score, right? Everybody just thinks that's easy. That's a really unique thing that he does. Then last guy, Isaiah White, again, another interior guy, maybe a little bit more a flip. I think we flipped him out of Louisville. Does a great job of getting on the edge here. You see him get in there, play tight, got a hand on the ball, knocks it out. Another good example here. Now he's playing like a true four, kind of like what we do, right? Head up on the tackle. This is kind of a Johnny Newton slap here, right? Like gets the guard, all right, he's rushing the tackle, gets the guard to fan out, and then he gets him to overcommit. You see him slap that inside arm, get control of it, and does a nice job, and then he has the ability to run the guy down. He's got an athletic, he's a D tackle with athleticism, which is really, really awesome. And the last play here, just another really good example here. You see him get vertical, get skinny on the edge, and makes a big play in the run game. This is a really, really good example. So that's our class.